Right, so this week I am going to talk about website optimization because this is a really important part of search engine optimization because without the actual markup and optimizing of your website, you are going to struggle for your website to do well on search engines. So what I've done is I've come up with kind of seven or eight things that will help you understand the importance of optimization. And then after I've kind of gone through this, I'll open the floor up to some questions and see how we can apply this to your websites. So the first thing I wanted to share is that optimizing a website helps to increase visibility because the way it's marked up will affect how it then shows in the search engine results pages. And when you start appearing prominently in those pages, you're going to attract more visibility and potentially more of your ideal customer. So without optimization, you're going to struggle to get visible organically. The second thing, which is a benefit to optimizing your site, is getting that organic traffic, because the more visible and the higher up your rankings are, then you're going to be more discoverable, but it's being discovered by the right prospects, not just anybody. And that's where the bit before optimization is kind of working out the right keywords and working out your messaging and so forth. But assuming that's been done, the next part would then be applying that optimization to your website. Also, optimizing your site is great for user experience. It gives a much better user experience because when you optimize a site, you're factoring in elements such as the speed of the page, how quickly it loads, how mobile friendly it is, the quality of the content and how long someone would dwell on your content. And when users have a positive experience on your website, they're more likely to stay longer, they're more likely to explore further and hopefully take the next step, which might be a micro conversion of going onto your mailing list, or a macro conversion, a bigger conversion where they pick up the phone or they book a call with you. So the next one I wanted to share was target audience. Again, because you need to align the right keywords and topics, that is where you're essentially aligning your ideal customer with the keywords that they're going to be using and searching for. So by having an optimized website, you are going to kind of automatically be targeting the right audience. Also, you will have a competitive edge because I see this a lot with various industries. I'm working with somebody at the moment who's a hypnotherapist, and she is finding it quite easy to optimize her site because the competition isn't actually that fierce. But depending on what industry you're in is going to depend on how optimized your competitors' websites are. But still, the fact that you are optimizing your site is going to make a difference. And I know with Sarah, we've been looking at keywords for coaches, and it's really interesting that actually a lot of these coaches aren't optimizing their website. So that gives Sarah a competitive edge, which is fantastic, and we're very excited about what that's going to mean. So number 6, optimizing contributes to establishing your brand's credibility and authority, because again, when your website appears high up in the search results, you can only achieve that by providing valuable, engaging content. And so that will instill trust and confidence in your audience, which will lead to increased brand recognition. And so then the final the final thing I wanted to share was it's cost effective. You know, I say this all the time, SEO isn't a quick win, it does take time. But compared to other digital marketing strategies, it is actually a more cost-effective approach in the long run. Yes, there are initial investments at the start, time, resources, finances, etc. But I used the analogy this week in my socials of likening it to solar panels, where it's a big investment up front. You need the right kit, you need the right specialists. But when you have that in place, you are going to reap those rewards much further down the line. So yes, it might hurt at the start when you're doing that investment, but you have to look at this as a long-term gain. So that's the 7 tips I wanted to share. And really, I'd just like to open up the room now to take questions and see how we could apply this to your websites. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any feedback?
Me?
Am I talking? Oh, sorry, Brenda. I was just unpinning myself.
Waving her finger, I think, to say she wants to talk.
Of course. Yeah, let me just unpin myself. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So one of the things, doesn't confuse me, but I just want to get clarity around it, is when you're looking at keywords on your website, has the number of times you use, like, for example, best-selling author, because I'm a publisher, is there a particular number you have to repeat them, or is it just the way that you put it all together? So what I'm asking really is, do you have to repeat keywords and phrases over and over, or is it the way you string everything together that's more important?
Well, it's a really good question, and it's kind of a bit of everything because first of all, you need to identify that the keyword you're talking about is actually valuable and being searched on. So the bit before the actual optimization is a bit like the solar panel example. It's the research bit before you actually then start installing. So with the keywords, you would need to make sure that that particular keyword had good volume, you were competing in the right way with other people, other websites. Assuming that is the case, then how you optimize that and put that into the markup of the page, there is kind of a process, there are steps you would need to take, but it's all about making it natural. So SEO, yes, we've got 2 stakeholders. We've got the human, the user, the prospect, and then we've got the algorithm, and we need to appeal to both, but you would always write for the human first. So there are tactics of things, of exactly where to put the keyword and how to kind of blend it, but you don't want to keyword stuff, because Google and search engines will pick up on that as kind of a black hat technique, which isn't cool.
Presumably you teach us actually how and where to put those keywords.
Yes, I do. Yes. So when it comes to that part of actually getting the markup right, getting the flow right, making sure you've got the right amount of content, etc., then the actual optimization, there are, I have, you both know this, but I can share this for the recording. I have a program where I help people to optimize their websites, but also to come up with their messaging, the right keywords, and basically the whole process right through to then getting organic traffic, etc. So yes, the steps to actual optimization are included in that. I think the point to make is, because SEO is quite an not very well understood topic, if you like, when I talk about optimization, it's just kind of one part of it. It's one slice of the pie. It's an important slice of the pie, but for that to work in harmony, it has to work with all the other pieces. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, with the solar panels, if I'm installing the wrong solar panels for that roof, then I didn't do my research properly at the beginning. So it's so important to get your research measure twice, cut once kind of concept. Otherwise, what you're then optimizing isn't going to work.
I have another question based on what you said. It's to do with the speed. So it baffles me, because some days your website seems, oh, this is good, and then another day it's like, what's going on? So what other things can impact the speed of the operational aspect of your website?
Okay, so when you run an audit, which is something I'm going to drop a link to a tool in shortly, that's one of what we call an on-site SEO issue. And it could be that you have very, very large images that haven't been optimized properly, that are large in file size and large in dimension size, and that will be slowing down your website. Now, there are plugins for WordPress that you can use to enhance that, but it's always worth going back to the native images and getting them optimized as low as possible without impacting on quality. So yeah, speed is really important, because it will put off users if they've got to kind of wait, and also on a mobile as well. You know, mobiles are used more for browsing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
How often should you run that audit tool?
That's a good question. So I would encourage any website owner to keep an eye on those kind of metrics. And my tool is free, so you can run it every, I don't know, once a month, every 3 months. But actually behind the tool I use, which Sarah will know about, it actually kind of audits your site as you go along. So you don't, if you're using the software that I include with my program, you don't actually need to audit your site, because it's going to be picking up on issues all the time. And that's really normal with a website. It's never going to be completely error-free, because the algorithm changes and things kind of come in and out of fashion. So once you've kind of got it fairly nailed, it will be fine. But if you then do a new blog or something, or there's a link you've changed, or something gets broken, which happens, that will be picked up automatically. Does that answer your question, Sarah?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Welcome. Yeah, so I talked about the SEO tool, and this, Brenda, might be, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop this into the chat, and you can run that tool, and it'll give you a score on your website. And I know your website was rebuilt, but it wasn't done.
No, it needs
optimization. There's going to be some things that needed fixing. Yeah,
it needs kind of looking at. I don't think the mobile bit's right. I don't know. So,
no, okay.
And I've now added my VSL.
Okay. Oh, well done. Okay.
Finally got that done. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, have a look at that and give me some feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I will do. So really, what would you, before I share some more links with you, would you just share with me maybe one gem of what's been useful today, what you've kind of got out of this session that you didn't know before? Maybe if you wanted to drop it in the chat, that would be great, or just share it with me.
I think the main thing for me is, and this isn't just necessarily from today's session, but as a general thing, you've helped me actually really start to understand SEO and be like, so I'm obviously using your tool, and one of the things that now is I kind of am in a little bit of competition with myself in the fact that it gives me a list of errors and I just want to keep getting rid of them and just get them ticked off. And I've never, despite the fact that I've previously built websites for my last business and this one myself, I've never really done any of the proper SEO. I've heard people talk about it and it's been like a topic that's thrown around, but I've never really taken it seriously as what I should have perhaps done, which was probably why I didn't get much traction in terms of inquiries from the website, because it wasn't optimized. But I think the main takeaway for me is you simplify it, and by the tools that you use, it just makes it so much easier to get your head around. Because when I have looked at things like Google Analytics in the past, even as somebody who is relatively techie, I looked at it and was like, I don't understand what it's actually trying to tell me and what I can then do with this information. Whereas the tool that you use, it gives you very clear steps of, you need to do this, and this is the reason why, this is how you do it. And I think that's where, you know, with your knowledge and how you explain things alongside tool, I would say to anybody who is potentially watching this after the live, is you need to get a call booked in with Natalie, because she genuinely does know her stuff, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else in terms of getting your head around SEO.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Sarah. That's really, really helpful. Yeah, so what you're saying is that being able to understand it on a more kind of ironically human level, where in the past it's always felt quite inaccessible, and now it feels a little bit more accessible because the tool helps and because I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, thank you.
I would say that I like how you've broken it down, and it's clear to see what the components are and how it helps you look at SEO optimization, because it is something, I think I'm in the same camp as Sarah. It's something you know about, but I think a lot of people will see SEO as something that you should, it's like an add-on, I'll do it or I'll not do it, whereas actually it's quite integral to having an effective website. So I personally would say, as an educator, that's a big part of your job, and I guess that's why you have these weekly events, because I think educating people as to the importance of it is important. Because I mean, I've known things for years, but I've not really thought, right, time to take it serious. So unless you keep hearing the same message, and particularly by someone you know, like, and trust, like yourself, so therefore you're going to listen and take notes. So it is about visibility, getting your message, and just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So yeah, certainly for other people out there that's like me, that's a business owner, knows about SEO but doesn't really engage in it because you think there's other things you need to spend your money on. But actually, if you take your website seriously, then as a digital marketing, part of your digital marketing strategy, you have to have it optimized, or there's no point in having it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies. That's fantastic. And really, that brings me to one of the things I see as my purpose with this, and that is to educate business owners with a view to them then passing it on to one of their team or to an outsourced company, but being able to create the brief as to what they want, because you understand the process and the wool's not going to be pulled over your eyes if it is taken off your hands and done elsewhere. But the thing about it is, once you've kind of got all these elements in place, it doesn't have to take too much anyway. Yes, you have to kind of look at the stats and the analytics, etc. But it's important for me to share that I want this dark art of SEO to be seen as something that is complex, but it's logical. And therefore, if it's logical, I can teach it you and help you apply it to your website.
But I think Sarah's got the right idea, because she sees it as a game, and I would do that because I would be wanting the best. So therefore, if I get a score and I've got all these things, I'd be ticking them off. I'd be wanting it done, you know. And it's like everything. It's like painting the Forth Road Bridge in Edinburgh. You know, when you get to the end, you got to start again. So it's like everything. It's worth anything. It's evolutionary, and it's just something that you have to create good habits with as a business owner. So I would say it's something that's got to be habitual. You don't do it once and forget about it.
No.
You've got to, like Sarah asked, how often should you do it? It should be built into your strategy. Like every month on the 28th of the month, I'm spending an hour looking at this, or whatever you decide, you know. So
Yeah.
well, thanks very much for actually making me sit up and think a bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. And you're absolutely right. It's not a one and done thing. We see this with all this generative AI stuff now, and there's going to be a big shift, but the principles of SEO will remain the same. So even with algorithm changes and with this shift in keywords moving to more sort of themes, keyword themes, it means that because you've got your house in order and because you have the principles nailed, you know, it's not going to be a huge change to kind of move to this next level. And you're absolutely right. It's SEO, and a website is never finished. And as soon as you start looking at it that it's done, you're on to a loser. You know, it's always going to be an ongoing thing. But it is worth it. It's so worth it, because that investment will continue to pay off in the future as you get more content. You know, with content, I talk about it's quality, not quantity. So you could go back to a blog from last year and go, right, I'm going to update this and make this better. I'm going to see what other keywords I can rank for. So it's not necessarily about more is better. Brilliant. Well, that's some really great takeaways. So thank you very much for that. So what I would just say at this point is, you know, do the links are in the notes, but do an audit using my free tool, and you will get that overall score on your SEO and how it is currently performing. And I tend to say the only way is up. So if it is a low score, don't panic. And then really the next thing to sort of mention is that I could do a strategy call where I would go deeper with your particular website challenges. And I also can, at that point, give you a demo on my SEO tool, which simplifies the whole process. So I'm just going to drop that into the chat as well. And these will be in the show notes as well. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to share today. So thank you so much for coming along. And great to see you all, and do reach out if I can help you any further.
Thank you very much, Natalie.
Thank you,
Natalie.
Bye.